Okay, I'm on the flight home and I fell asleep and I wake up. There's a lady next to me handing me a blanket and she said, "Sir, your body is showing." I'm like, "What? What's going on?" And she goes, "Your body, sir." And I'm looking down and I'm sprung up. You know, I'm erect. And this lady's like, "I don't want to have to call the flight attendant." Like, what? And I'm thinking at first I thought, well, I'm like, "I'm sorry, ma'am. You know, that's a natural thing. You know, I'm sleeping." And she's like, "Yeah, well, you know, it's not very appropriate." What's not appropriate? I can't have an erection. First of all, it ain't for you. I mean, I remember the first time I ever did cocaine, man, I was running. Somebody told me it was a performance enhancing drug. So next thing you know, I'm out there on a couple of grams of that white, you know, of that fluffaduffalus, bruh, of that, ooh. You know? And next thing you know, I ran 7 miles, dude, in a pair of orange Umbros out there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, near the railroad tracks. High on cocaine, dude, I'd stop every mile and cup up on that dust and keep cruising. And that's where I was at, you know? You could commit a crime back in the day. They didn't have a DNA or anything. They had a wanted poster. That was it. They had one dude's drawing of you. So all you had to know was, you know, how good the local artist was. And if they were shit, then you could do a crime. You could take a chance, you know, do a robbery or do a burglary or do something. Think about a bee. Think about a bee, man. They come around, bruh, and they f you up. Imagine if somebody ran over by you. You're hanging out at the park. You having a little cut of ham or something. You know, you may be having a couple Ganger snaps or whatever, doing something natural. You having a lemonade, bro, but you cut it down with water a little because it's too sugar. And somebody runs up, bro, a little dude, bro, runs up, pulls out a knife, pokes you like that, and then he dies. That's a bee. That's a bee, man. That's what a bee do.
Let's hear another call.
What's the best way to introduce my Filipino boyfriend to my family? And my family's not racist, but still just like a different culture.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean, honey. Yeah, it's just a little bit of daytime racism, baby, what you're talking about. You know, nothing violent, nothing crazy, just, you know, it's like you got something stuck in your teeth. They're like, what is that? Damn, is that an N-word? You know what I'm saying? You don't know. Sometimes we still get things stuck in our teeth. Just because other people been having beef. But yeah, I think the best way probably to introduce a Filipino to some whites, I would do a ethnicity reveal where you put them in a box or put them behind a tree, and then you let your family guess what ethnicity he's going to be. Get one of those smoke things, and maybe it makes, I don't want to say yellow smoke. I mean, you can't do that. That's racist. Just, you know what? Don't do the smoke thing. Have him come out from behind the tree.
We don't know what it's like when you die. So here's the thing. It's so good. I bet it's so good. Nobody's coming back from it. There was a couple ghosts, I think, that came back allegedly from the 1700s or whatever. But them, apparently they fixed heaven up because nobody's been coming back. Name the last ghost you even heard about. You know, Ray Charles maybe or somebody. I don't even know who. I mean, he's not a ghost. I mean, he's blind, but that's not a ghost. A ghost is if you can't see them. So he's like a reverse. Think about the things that hunters go through to try and shoot a deer. First of all, they go and get another deer to piss in a jug, okay? Which I think is insane, you know, unless you're trying to get that deer to play football for you or something. You don't trust it, and you don't trust some of its workout methods. But they get a deer to piss in a jug. Then they take that wee-wee, and they go and they sprinkle it out so another deer will smell it and show up. Then when that deer gets there, they shoot that deer. What? Y'all shoot a deer with a scoped rifle from 900 feet away. Get out there like a real man and fight a deer the old-fashioned way. Get a knife, get a spoon, and get out there. If you had to pick one person to be the ambassador for the human race to meet aliens, who would it be? Ooh, this is good. I'd probably pick... Probably a Filipino, dude. I'm really infatuated by Filipinos. They're happy, they're joyous. You know, they call them the smiling people somewhere on the internet. And every Filipino I meet, they're real gracious. They do a lot of senior care centers, hospice. Who else you gonna send out there, dude? You know what I'm saying? A drunk, somebody from Scotland, no, somebody on coke. You can't do any of that. You gotta send somebody who is caring, I think.
You usually say like The Rock.
Oh, you mean like a specific person? Manny Pacquiao had a deaf kid in our town, and some kids beat him up one time for doing bad magic because he was always doing all of this, the sign language. But, he never pulled out a quarter, never pulled out a dove, and people beat his ass because they thought he was doing bad magic. I don't understand. Why are we going to space all the time? No, we can't handle we can't handle shit here. Two out of 7 Americans can't swim, and we out there getting in the deep end of the galaxy with no floaties on, bro. You see what they send these dudes out there in? This thing like a damn 84 Chevy Blazer sometimes a bit, the thing they send these dudes out there. I just don't understand what we're doing. It's so I'm not saying it's not fun to think about what's out there, but just sending people to space. We send 2 dudes out of Florida, a couple spring break addicts every time. Down here in Florida, we blasting 2 bad boys out there. I dated a gal in college for a little bit, and her name was, I'm not going to say her name, but it was Vanessa was her name. And they called her Van, and I don't recommend dating women named after autos. But anyway, what I'm trying to tell you is, and I remember when she would hug me, the detergent they used was bad. So I remember after we get done making out or doing anything like that, I'd look like a damn, I'd look like I'd just been in a gang with a damn anteater. And he'd been breathing out the whole time. So, I dated a girl with a real small head one time. I wouldn't mind more of like a regular headed woman. I dated a girl who had this little pin top. Sometime when I was making out with her, I could kiss her and my hands would touch under her chin and on the top of her head at the same time. And she was an adult, obviously. But I remember just like, dang, she got that cabbage ball. And I started thinking, how many ideas could she even have in this hitter, on top of her neck? I was always scared somebody with a T-ball bat was just going to roll up and just, try to knock a double. Because she had that little baby, When the doorbell rang, everything changed. The world stopped. Because it could be anything. It could be the postman. It could be God. It could be your real dad. We had a come. He's the nicest guy. Nicest. Hey, you want to come? We're doing a kickball league. And he'd be putting lotion on his legs. They ain't got no league, bro. You a dog, But no thanks. But thanks for stopping by. You were still happy somebody came by. With your ass, too. A lot of kids never washed their ass. We had a buddy, his legs just knew his pants so well. He wore the same pants always. And so you knew good and well, so nobody was washing his ass, boy. Not a chance. Even his mom. And she tried. Sometimes you see her warm up some water on a stove in a stove pot and just pull his pants back and just dump it right down the back of his pants, hoping to even get a half wash or quarter wash on his ass with that warm water. How many gay dudes watch the Nathan's hot dog eating contest? I mean, it must be like when people do those Game of Thrones viewing parties. There's no way that in gay culture that isn't a huge thing. That should be on pay-per-view at every gay club. I feel like it should be the biggest night at the gay club. It's like the Super Bowl, it feels like. Some dude, right, yammering down 67 francs, bro. I think if you are gaying around, I think that will excite you. And it's not really the tree you got to worry about that much, because a tree only has 2 moves. It has the fall, and then the real most dangerous move of a tree, the roll. People don't think about that bitch. People yell timber and it falls, then it fucking rolls over 9 people because they don't have nobody thought of another thing for after timber. That's really just ignorance. People getting damn rolled out. All of a sudden, fucking stepdad's flat and y'all poor. Bad baby, join on. If she's the cash me outside girl. And she definitely, you could tell she's probably been banging a lot of brothers. And let's be honest, dude. You ain't getting near her unless you really that cafe de color with a little neck tat, fam. You feel me? Like, I bet an ankle bracelet makes, really makes her feel erect, probably. And I can say that she's not a child anymore. Also, is this a crime? But anyway, she's on OnlyFans now. And they said she made a ton of money on OnlyFans, is the most ever, like $1 million. Let me read it, actually. She turned 18 and made $1 million in 6 hours. Pretty crazy.